My name is Holger, and I'm a professor for science and journalism at TU Dortmund University. And I send you a warm welcome to our lectures of today within the SciCon series, Science Journalism in the Digital Age. As always, the session of today will be recorded, so be careful with insulting people beyond the level of strong but polite and honest criticism, which should be common in science as well as in journalism. To start with our topic of today, I invite you to imagine something which is, well, because of Corona, not really possible at the moment. It's a visit in a restaurant. But as you may remember, before choosing your meal there, you get usually a menu as a kind of inspiration, but also as information what your choice will cost. But finally, continue to imagine this situation as looking on such a menu without any costs, just having 0.0 euro on the price list for every meal you could order. And to finish this mind game, ask yourself what quality you would expect from the kitchen fulfilling your order. Well, the situation, which seems to be a rather strange imagination for consumption in a restaurant, is quite a real one in online news consumption of many people. They expect a certain quality, but often they are not used to pay for it. However, fortunately, there are some successful exceptions in the European media menu market, which have re-established the readiness of users to pay for, well, quality journalistic content. And two examples of such best practice market-based financing models for journalism are with us today. How this could work will be explained by Donatien Huet from Mediapart in France. Bonjour, Donatien. And to start with, Esther Alonso from elDiario in Spain. We would like to have now about 15 minutes presentation by Esther and then by Donatien. If you have a question during these presentations, so just write it in the chat, but we will have also enough time at the end of the two lectures to discuss and, well, to check what could be done in best practice models for financing journalism. So Esther Alonso. Esther is membership and program membership program and development director. She has more than 14 years of international work experience addressing issues such as child poverty, education, or public health. And she's an expert on social marketing and fundraising. And Esther, thank you very much for being with us in Madrid. And we are very curious to learn more about your concept at elDiario. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'll go straight to my presentation so we don't lose any more time. Right, can everybody see the screen? Lovely. Just very quickly, yeah, elDiario.es, it's a digital native newspaper, and we are community-based independent newspaper. I will tell you a little bit about how we started and where we are right now, and I can answer any questions you have further on during this session. As I said, elDiario was founded in 2012 in a very special time in Madrid, and I would say all around the world. I have a photo to show you in a little bit. And we were born with a very specific purpose, which was, and which is really, to reconnect journalism with society. In 2011, if you remember, there was we had this financial crisis all around the world, which was not only financial, it was also a credibility crisis. The society was had lost faith in the governments, in the private companies, in charities, in public institutions, I would say everywhere. And a group of journalists at the time decided that they could change this, and they could start a new media, an independent project, to reconnect with this society, and to build credibility again. Since then, we have evolved until today. It's been 8 years, and we are among the top 10 newspapers in Spain. We are the second native digital newspaper in Spain, and we have a community of over 61,000 paying members. Oops, 1 minute. There we go, sorry. Oops. Okay, yeah, this is the photo I wanted to show you. This is 15 May 2011 in Madrid. This is one of the main, it's really the heart of Madrid. It's a main square. If you've been to Madrid, this is Puerta del Sol. It's a very famous area, very touristy. And as you can see, there's a lot of people. This was it all started with demonstrations in the street, but at this time, this was like a campsite. People were sleeping here and creating, raising their voices from here. It was a very symbolic moment for Spain. And it just basically represented what I said before, this loss of credibility and the demand for a big change in both the public sector, the private sector, and in all the different industries. It was not only a governmental crisis or a financial crisis, it was a global crisis. And this is a very symbolic photo for us, because when this was happening, elDiario was, I would say, it was starting to become an idea. So this was May 2011, as I said, and elDiario was officially launched a year later in September 2012. Something very important, I think, about elDiario, not only in terms of where we are, it does not only represent a good business model, but we've had the same business model since we started. And I think this is very relevant, because many often we are asked by other media projects who want to move on onto their business model and find a new business model that is focused on audience monetization and creating a community to raise funds from them. I always explain how, I give as much advice as I can, but I think one of the main important issues for elDiario is that we've had the same business model since our foundation. This business model, we decided it had to be one that guaranteed our financial and editorial independence. And we thought a lot about what type of business model this could be. And we realized that it had to be a business model where our readers were part of it. They had to be a key part of our income strategy. So this is why we decided to go for a membership program. The membership program today represents 50% of our income. This has moved on over the years. It used to be 30%, but last year we launched various different fundraising campaigns, and we changed a little bit our membership program, and we've managed to raise our income from 30% to 50%. So now we are equal with income from advertising, which represents the other 50%. Just to see it, to represent this business model on an image, which is always easier to remember and to understand. There's 3 pillars in the project. One of them is editorial independence, which is obviously extremely related to economic independence. And the third part is a membership program. We thought a lot about all the possibilities that we had to bring these three items together. And we realized that only with this support from our readers, we could ensure our editorial independence. So our whole strategy, marketing strategy, communication strategy, editorial strategy, the whole project is based on this. Just to show you, this is our members acquisition graph, starting from September 2012 and coming all the way until January 2021. As you can see, we've been growing constantly. We had some more like big bumps on this curve that you can see in October 2016. Then there was another big increase in July 2018. And then last year, which was crazy, as you can see here, we move on from 36,000 to 56,000 in 3 months. I can talk a little bit more about this later on. What I wanted to also explain a little bit about this graph is that all this constant growth has been achieved using our own communication channels and without any big budgets for marketing. So all this growth has been organic. We only advertise ourselves on our own channels, like the website, our own social networks, and email marketing to the members and different readers who give us their email and become part of our database. Recently, we started using Facebook a little bit as well to do some communication campaigns to raise more members. But the amount of members that we get through these Facebook ads campaigns is insignificant compared to what you see on this graph. And this is also very important because we decided to not invest big amounts of money on gathering new members for two reasons. The main one, I think, is because we don't have that money. We don't have the budget to do that, which is a very fair reason. But I think even if we had the budget, we wouldn't do it because we realize and we know that it's getting a new member is very important, but keeping it is even more important. And sometimes it's even harder to keep a member than to get a new member. And sometimes putting money into all these advertising campaigns gives you a lot of new members, but maybe they don't have the quality that you need to be with you over the years and become loyal members. So we decided to go for a very conservative approach to growth. And I think so far is working very well, as you can see on this graph. This, as I was saying, regarding growth, we've been following a very conservative approach to growth and expansion, not only in the membership program, but also as a company. We've never asked for loans. We don't have big corporations behind us. We've never been to the bank to get money because we just wanted to grow within our own capacity. We've been expanding. We've been opening, not really opening, but we've been establishing alliances and partnerships with small media groups in Spain to make sure that we cover the whole of the Spanish territory. So we have 13 partnerships at the moment. But we've done this in a very, very how you call it, yeah, conservative, I would say, or in a very safe way, because we're not here to just become something very big and then be sold to somebody. We want to be here to stay. We want to stay in the market. We want to grow. We want to be part of everyone's routine, and we want to be within the top 5 newspapers in Madrid. But we don't have the rush. We're not going to do it if we're not ready for it. And I think this is also another key aspect for the success of elDiario. Just another graph to show you the evolution of unique users. You can see how we had also this peak at the end of the year related to the same peak we had when we acquire those 20,000 members in 2 months. This is the COVID time. It'll be interesting to see how, to talk a little bit about this, because COVID time, I think it was very unexpected for everyone. And in general, I think people consume so much journalism that I'm sure many media projects have this type of increase during the months of COVID and the pandemic. And just to finish, some tips that, I don't know, you might find interesting, but I hope they help when you're looking for how to find financial opportunities or redesign your business model, or just go for something new or experiment or try something different. I always say it's very important to understand the core aim of your project. First, you have to look at yourself and make sure you understand what you're there for. Because at the end of the day, you're going to ask money for that to accompany you on this adventure. So you need to understand what you're doing and why you're there. Then you need to really listen to your audience needs and make sure that you find or design a business model or a fundraising strategy that matches both the audience needs and the aim of your project. I think this is very general, but it's very common sense and I hope is useful to everyone. I'm going to stop here. So my colleague can speak now. Just in time, I think, I hope.
Okay. Okay. Is everybody see? Yeah? Okay. Okay, first a few words about Mediapart. So we were created in 2008 at the beginning of the digital revolution. 2008, this was the year of the first iPhone. And shortly after, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter came on the internet. Why this name Mediapart? Because we have 2 pillars, media und part. It means media and participative. Why? Because we have these 2 pillars. On one side, what we call the journal, where we are producing investigative and high qualitative journalism. It means that we don't report on every news as other media outlets do. We are publishing 10 to 15 articles per day, and we are trying to make real choices in order to offer a real added value to the readers. And we don't publish article 24/7 because we have 3 daily editions. So in the morning, in the midday, and on the evening. And our motto is like Robin Hood, to find the illegal secrets of the powerful people and give it to the public. For us, the citizens in the society have a lot of rights, but one of the most important rights is the right to know what's happening. And I would say that our values, I mean, I would say 2 things. One is our commitment to serve the public interest and to have a concrete humanistic approach and to argue in favor of democratic radicality, for example, for more transparency in the politics, and a lot of critics of the French political system where the power is in one people hand, today Emmanuel Macron. And the second pillar is the club. What is the club? This is a platform for political and societal debates. It means that each subscriber of Mediapart has the possibility to have a blog, to post some comments under the article, and to send private message to other subscribers, and in fact to create some relationship with the other users. And with this club is Mediapart like a social network without advertising and algorithm between interested and active readers and users. Just a few statistics. So we have almost 220,000 subscribers. Like Esther said, the COVID-19 was a great opportunity for us with plus 50,000 subscribers in 2020. And the explanation is maybe that the readers have more time to read some newspapers during the lockdown and stuff. And we have 7.5 million monthly visits in 2020. This is a monthly mean. And we made more than 20 million euros revenues in 2020 and a net income of 4 million euros. Maybe about the team, we are 110 employees. The half of them are journalists. And one of the lessons we learned during these 13 last years is that an online media can't work only with journalists. Our success is based on a good teamwork between journalists and developers, marketers, and the sales department. And each voice must be taken into consideration, and to combine all these skills is essential to develop some new products, tools, services, and functionalities. I mean that the best ideas don't come from the top, specifically in the online industry. And we have to forget the traditional hierarchical structures. And our inner strength is to have developed a strong culture of autonomy without verticality and bureaucratic burdens. So Mediapart is, since its creation, an independent online newspaper. It means that our financial resources only comes from subscriptions. It's 11 euros per month. We don't have any ad on the website, and don't become money from the French state, from billionaire shareholders, or from Google, Facebook, and the Gates Foundation. And our slogan is only our readers can buy us. And I mean, this is a graphic from Le Monde Diplomatique. It's written French media, who owns what? Because in France, the media landscape is a disaster. If you take, for example, I mean that free press is a real exception. There are maybe 10 free media outlets in France, and if you take to Madrid, for example, the 5 major daily news outlets in France, for example, Le Monde belongs to telecommunications billionaire Xavier Niel. Le Figaro belongs to a weapons manufacturer, the Groupe Dassault. L'Équipe belongs to the group Amaury, this is the organizer of the Tour de France and the Paris-Dakar race. And Les Echos and Le Parisien belongs to Bernard Arnault, who is one of the richest men in the world and who owns Louis Vuitton. And all these people have nothing to do with the press industry, and they bought newspaper just for their own good, and not in a philanthropic way, I mean. So the Mediapart model is very an exception, I mean, in France. But there is something new since 2019. From the beginning was Mediapart controlled by its 4 co-founders. This is 4 people who comes from the old press, from Le Monde, actually, and this we had a lot of invention, as mean the editorial invention, because an entirely digital newspaper, democratic invention, because we are a participative newspaper, and professional innovation, because we have this collective culture of investigative journalism, and commercial invention, because we had this paid-for model based on subscription. And last year, we added another invention, a capitalistic invention that had no equivalent in the French press, and via an entity called Société pour la protection de l'indépendance de Mediapart. This is this company for the protection of the independence of Mediapart. Our publication now belongs to an endowment fund for free press, which preserves and definitively protects the independence of Mediapart, because it means, through this model, that our newspaper can't be bought or sold or be subject to financial speculation. And we take the inspiration from the Guardian Scott Trust Limited. This is a trust that guaranteed since 1936, I guess, that guaranteed the independence of the British daily newspaper, the Guardian. And this fund for free press is also designed to bring financial support to free and independent media that are not Mediapart, and it accepts also donations. And it means the capital of Mediapart is in this company for the protection of the independence that is controlled by this non-lucrative, non-profit fund. So this is a real invention, because Mediapart was the first in France to adopt this model. But now Libération, this is one of the most famous newspaper in France, Libération, they made the same as us at the end of last year. Now a foundation owns the newspaper, and we know that some people at Le Monde are very interesting to do the same as us and Libération. And I mean, this is a new sign that Mediapart is inspiring not the French press, because another concrete proof is that back in the day, 2008, every people laughed at us, because they didn't find that a paid-for model based on subscription could work on the internet, and now the vast majority of newspapers have a paywall and digital subscriptions. Even Le Canard Enchaîné, one of the oldest newspapers in France, they launched, I think, last month, their website, and now we can read the article from Le Canard Enchaîné online as well. Okay, that was everything, I think.
Thank you very much, Donatien, Esther. Thank you very much. So just to sum up a little bit, so we have 2 models. We have one model, membership model plus advertisement, with about 50% share, which reminds me a little bit of old financial models of newspapers, because it was a typical financial model for newspapers in former times as well, to have 50% advertisement, 50% from the readers. And we have the other model, which is paid by the readers, only subscription, but also some donations, donatives, if I get it right. So maybe just to sum up also some questions we already had in the chat. So could you explain a little bit more the reasons for the people being a member or a subscriber of your media? And especially Esther, so what is the advertisement? Where's the advertisement coming from? And especially in the beginning, I think there should have been some funding money by somebody as well. So who would like to start?
Okay. Yeah, I saw the question here on the chat. Thank you. Right. First, the money to start the project came from the founders. We started with very little money. It was 12 journalists who believed in the project, and they used their own savings. And also some friends and family put some money together and created the group of founders, the official group of founders for elDiario. And they still work at elDiario. So elDiario is owned by its own editorial room, which I think I didn't mention before, but it's important. And yeah, we started with a very low budget in a co-working in just one room. So without any communication campaigns or without any advertising or without any, really in a very humble way. How we got members and what do we give them? This is a very good question. Why do they give us the money? What do we give them back? Right. One of our first slogans was, we don't want readers, we want partners in crime. That was one of our first marketing campaign. And we said we wanted to make them understand that without them, we couldn't exist. So this is not about you give me money and I give you something in exchange. This is more about being part of being on the same boat. So most of our I call them advertising, but they really are communication campaigns. Most of our communication campaigns with our members, we try to explain our business model. We don't go for fancy photos or fancy copies or catchy campaigns. We basically explain in a very detailed way why we need them. One of our most successful landing pages to acquire new members is a very long read. Nothing to do with a catchy marketing advertising. It's just a very long read which is called "Why Do We Need Members?" So, and this is also it's very related to what I was saying before, that we don't invest in quantity, we invest in quality. We don't want to have millions of members if they don't understand what they're doing with us. So most of our communication campaign really involves a lot of talking, a lot of explaining, a lot of discussing, and a lot of I say education. Really, we need people to understand what a membership program is. This is not typical in Spain, so for us it's really hard to people are used to just paying a subscription and get the newspaper and don't have any type of personal relationship with the media. But we're not looking for that. We're looking for involvement. We really listen to their opinion. We give them participation channels, so they become part of the project. So engagement comes from there. I don't know if this answers the question. I don't want to take too much time.
Yes, maybe just one sentence concerning the advertisement. Who makes?
What? Sorry.
The advertisement. Who gives you the ads? Because 50% of the income is coming by.
Okay. Yeah, we don't use ads. What we do is on our website and on our social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we place banners with these messages of we need new members, become a member, this is why we need you. But we don't pay for that because we use our own channels, we use our own website, and we use our own Twitter account, and we use our own Facebook account. So we don't have to invest money on placing banners or advertising on other websites or on other channels. We don't do radio, we don't do TV, we don't do printed media. We only use our own channels, because this is where we have our most loyal public. Our loyal readers come to us, and we take the opportunity to explain. We use also, at the end of every news, of every article, we place a message explaining why we need new members, and we invite them to become new members. But we don't go and look for our new members outside El Diario.
Okay. Well, maybe we can talk about advertisement by companies or something later on. So we just moved to donateurs. So what's the reason for your subscribers to subscribe you?
I think they are here because we are producing some exclusive investigation, and we saw that all the peaks in our history are connected to huge investigation on corruption. For example, on Sarkozy, Gaddafi, we revealed this crazy story of corruption from the French president, from the Libyan dictator, and after that, I think that the people are staying because they can read their articles that they don't read anywhere else, and because we, like I said, we are not reporting on every news, but we are making strong choices, and people know that when they are on Mediapart, they can find article with a added value. And the other things is this community. Mediapart is a real community between the readers, like a social network, but independent social network. And I think that this where the users can share their views, can debate, can express their opinion, and there is no algorithm like on Twitter and Facebook. So I think it's better for the people too. I think these are the main reason, and maybe because so we are a lot of people who are like on the left, so political left, are like in Mediapart, because we have all this commitment for humanistic and humanist and against corruption, for a better democracy. And I think that the people can find their ID here that are they want to defend. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there's another question by Franco Zotta. Franco, do you like to ask this?
So I would love to answer to Franco, but the thing is that this fund is real fresh, and we don't have for the moment any project finance. I think that the first project will be financed this year only. So yeah, it's very for the moment it's very so we never financed anybody, but there is a lively startup scene here, and maybe because there are some new ways to have a media, because now you don't have to have a website for example to have a media. There are like in the US a lot of projects for example in France around the newsletter or around the podcast, for example, that are very that the French people are reading a lot too, because this is the way the new. There wasn't as a huge startup, as a journalism startup launch. So I mean like website last year or for 2 years, but I mean that there is this new podcast and newsletter, and these are or YouTube channel too, and these are these three media that are now very so on the scene. Yeah.
Okay, Franco, would you like to precise your question, or was it already the answer?
No, the answer has been okay. The only thing I don't understand is the startup scene. You told me she's Huet, but how vivid? Are you the only one in the last years in France, and also Esther, or are you one of many startups? Is there a bigger startup scene in France and Spain?
So we are not a startup anymore, because I think a startup is under maybe 5. Yeah, there are some, but yeah, there are some. I don't know how much. Yeah, but yeah, there are. So there are some local projects too. For example, we partnered with a website. This is local online independent media in Marseille, in Nantes, in Lille, in Toulouse. Yeah, and this is just something that is also that aspect from Mediapart as well, because I think that there is a real demand from the public to have a free and independent press. So we will never have 1 million subscribers, but I think that there are some demand from people to have this independent press because of the situation and where the press is owned by billionaires and stuff. Yeah.
In Spain, the startup scene is not that big in terms of media projects. We have startups coming up, but in different industries. We were never officially in a startup. Well, I mean, I guess you can call us a startup because we started from scratch, and but I think we have many differences with the startup. In any case, obviously, we're now a pretty large company, so far away from being a startup in its early years. And yeah, there's some projects small projects in Spain, media projects coming up, and some projects that have been going on for the last years. I wouldn't say startups, maybe I would classify them as independent projects, some of them with a charity background or a charity structure, really. Not all of them. But yeah, definitely small projects, very independent, looking for type of membership programs or crowdfunding, but very, very small. Like, I think we are the only real independent media that's gone so far in Spain.
Okay, then thank you. Then I have another question concerning science and science journalism from Holger. Holger, please.
I would like to ask both of you which role does science play in your reporting? What's your approach on covering scientific issues, and has this changed during the pandemic?
Okay, I can start. This is one of our pending topics to cover, science. We don't have a section dedicated to science, and it's something that we really, for the last 2 or 3 years, we've been demanded by our members to do so. And it's something we really want to do, but we're still not sure how to do it. Because as I said before, we don't have a big budget to just try something new and big. Everything we try is very small. And we've had some experiments with scientific journalists writing for us, but we don't have a dedicated section. But as I said, we keep on looking into it because we know we really want to do it. We really want to do it, and we know our members are very keen on it. Mm-hmm. The second question, the answer is definitely yes. Obviously, with well, it's going to be a year very soon, and I would say all our journalists from every section, they are so well informed right now about science in terms of medical science because of COVID. They've learned so much, and at one point we had the whole newsroom dedicated to cover COVID-19 because there was just so much information. We couldn't produce anything else. We had to focus on that. So all our journalists have gone or have at least been part of the COVID coverage team at one point. And yet we feel much more stronger, obviously, about that. We feel very sure. We have, I mean, very empowered to now write about science. And we have acquired a good network of sources as well. We work with a lot of doctors, medical doctors, that we were not in touch with them before. So I think, obviously, COVID has changed many things, but this is one of them.
Donatien, some investigative science journalism, maybe? That could
but I would answer the same as Esther. We didn't add, it's a big lack for us, a real scientist, as a science journalist in the team, but we recruited someone in March 2020, specialized in health and science, and now we are working with a lot of freelance as well to cover these topics. And I mean, we developed the last years as well, like a data journalist project, and for me this is maybe some kind of science journalism, because the data journalism, this is like what we call precision journalism. When you work on data, you have to be very careful, and there is a real scientific method behind it. So yeah, we don't have for the moment a real science department, but we are working on it, and this COVID-19 story has convinced us that this kind of specialty are essential to a journalistic team, and yeah, hopefully we will recruit in this way. So the next months or years. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned something very important, which is data journalism. Even before the pandemic, we had a data journalism team. It's with only 2 people, and they were a very young team, and very, very professional. And for them, I think the pandemic has been such a big challenge, and they also had a lot of fun covering it, because everything was about data as well. And with data, you could explain so many things. I think we were all in our homes following curves coming up and down and different millions of data. And I think for communication and media projects, it was a big challenge to be able to use data in a good way to make sure that our audience was well informed. And this is not always easy, because when you have so much information available, choosing the right data is really a challenge.
Okay, thank you. Are there some other questions? Other people? If not, then I maybe have one last question. So Donatien, you have been also at German media, for example, in Arte, Badische Zeitung. So would you think that a similar concept as of Mediapart would also work in Germany? And similar question to Esther. I do not know if you are aware of the German media landscape, but maybe you could just talk if you think that in Spain something is special, so that your project may work, but maybe it does not work in another country.
So yeah, I think that this model can be everywhere, I think. But I mean, the German media landscape is not the same as in France, because Mediapart works because it is independent, and we are one of the only independent. So this is a real marketing argument as well. But I mean, we are partnering a lot with Der Spiegel in Germany on common investigation, because we are members together of European consortium, European investigative collaboration with newspaper in Spain, Portugal, Italy, and everywhere in Europe. And I mean, Der Spiegel is the main a weekly newspaper in Germany, but it is still independent. So you don't have this this question. And I mean, the Süddeutsche Zeitung is independent too. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung is independent too. So there is not this this question. There is, I know that there is this project Corrective. It's foundation based, and it's an interesting project too. I mean, the way they investigate and the way they are making long term investigation. Some investigation are like 1 year long or something before it's published. So yeah, I think it could work, but I mean that you have already, I mean, a very I mean, the German press is very more qualitative as the French press, so you don't have maybe this problem that that would make people create an independent newspaper like Mediapart in France, I think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Esther, what do you think? Is your model is kind of speciality to Spain, or would it work somewhere else, for example, in Germany as well?
I think it would work everywhere, really. I think in a way it's very similar to a charity business model, even though we're not a charity. I think people are very used to give money to defend a cause they believe in. In our case, they give us money because they believe in independent journalism. So it's all about what I said before. If your aim as a media project is to produce good quality journalism and to make sure that it's useful for the society, I think you will connect with them, and I think the public will understand that if they're if it's like a public service, I would say, if they see the value in your project, and they will pay for it. It's true that it is not very common for media projects in Spain to go for membership program. I'm sure it's easier in Europe. Well, maybe not, I don't know, but yeah, thinking about charities for us is always very interesting because it's very similar. The type of marketing and communication you have to do and the type of engagement you are looking for is very similar. So if you explain your costs and your aim in that way, I think the public will understand that if they are using your journalism, using us, really getting a benefit from it, they should pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then thank you very much for your attendance. We are already a little bit over time. I wish you a pleasant evening, everybody, and I hope to meet you soon somewhere in the future on a conference or even a restaurant, which I mentioned before. Whatever we will find there on the menu for today, we stay with a good delivery service or even better, some home cooking. All the best. Good luck for you, and bye-bye to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.